Greetings and welcome to another episode of the U Talk Show. On this episode, we are asking a question one not might expect needs to be asked and answered. And that question is, why must we be willing to be offended? Why must we be willing to take offense in the course of political discourse? Well, that's, in my mind, actually quite simple. If you're not willing to be offended, then you're not willing to learn. Because the act of offending someone or the act of taking offense is to have your beliefs either critiqued or challenged. That challenge in of itself is an offense. And so unless you're willing to take on that challenge, take on that offense, you're unwilling to learn different perspectives and perhaps expand your worldview. Horst, first, what is that? Do you think that makes sense?
I fundamentally agree with most of the things you've just said.
And second, what are your thoughts on this?
People get offended too fucking easily. Respectfully,
Tell
challenging someone's position should not automatically be offensive. Yet we have been raised in an environment of polemicization and polarization, which means that we as people are encouraged to identify so strongly with our beliefs, to make them such a core part of who we are, that any attack on those beliefs almost guarantees itself to be an attack on us. And that is a wrong-headed way of looking at the world, at life. Like, if I believe when I am in kindergarten that cat is spelt C-T-A, I am wrong. When my teacher tells me gently, no, you switched those two letters, it's C-A-T, cat. They're not telling me I'm useless. They're not telling me I've backed the wrong horse. They're providing information so that I can learn. And that should not be seen as an attack. And in the same way, when we look at more complex and nuanced matters, differing points of view, and they can sometimes be points of view rather than hard facts. There are things that we haven't tested yet. The idea that any disagreement is fundamentally an attack is it's mind-boggling. It's stupid beyond belief.
Couldn't agree more. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there's too much more to really say. We're only 2 minutes in, and I'm just like, oh wow, did we even have enough for an episode here?
Well, that's the thing. I think part of the problem is that we have to be willing to be offended, because for now, political discourse is inherently offensive.
Yeah.
I think we need to work
towards.
I think we need to work towards a world where it isn't quite so tightly tied to our identity to have a belief. But I think that to get there, we're going to have to work through our discomfort.
I think part of the problem is that our focus in politics, and I've said this a lot on this show, but our focus on politics is basically on crappy identity politics. And I think because we focus so much on identity, that the way that politics is around identity is the way that people think politics should be. Because ideas around identity have to do with, well, just identity. And so that being so all-consuming has meant that all politics is about identity and not about ideas and, the distribution of wealth and resources and power. People, I've said it before, I'll say it again, politics is the process by which the distribution of power, wealth, and resources is decided.
Yes, and right now it's being reduced to, are you voting Labour, are you voting Liberals, or are you voting Greens? It's reduced to, what team are you on? As opposed to, what ideas resonate with you.
Yeah, and that I find very interesting, and also kind of heartbreaking, because looking at that sportification, if you will, of
Sportification.
politics.
Okay.
Sportification, I am coining that term if it has not been coined
Yep.
already.
I'm okay with this. I'm just,
Yeah.
it's
Looking
a
at the
little odd.
sportification of politics, it's really, it takes away from the high-minded sense of duty of politics. It takes away from the brilliant philosophical ideas of politics. It takes away from the very practical nature that you can apply to politics and that politics really should have. Politics can be so much more than, are you voting for red, blue, or green? You know, it's not an RGB color competition. You know,
It's
it's,
not an RGB color competition.
yeah.
I'm sorry. You're
I know
very,
I made several
very
inside
right.
jokes there between you and me.
No, you're just, that's the thing though. You're very, very right there. But I am seeing this as a, I don't know. I find it hilarious, and I don't know how to explain why I find it hilarious.
I think I know. I think I know.
Be-
I think you find it hilarious that it is a revelation to some people that that is the case because it seems so goddamn obvious.
no, it's not even that. It's just the idea that we've spoken before about utilitarianism as a philosophy, right?
Yeah,
And we've spoken about how part of it is that when the existing options are not suitable, we work to create new options.
yeah,
And I just have this mental image of like the color wheel picker in like the really old versions of Photoshop, where you can sort of just squiggle around and you could make some colors that look like absolute puke, but you can make a lot of pretty colors that aren't in the like here are your options. I'm just thinking, is this our new model for politics?
it's. I mean, in a way, kind of. That's. I mean, it's that's the heartbreaking part though. Is I think kind of because I mean we seem to be very much being pulled in the same direction that the US is going in, where it's quite literally red versus blue. You know, it's Halo but without the fun.
It's
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
yeah. And here's the biggest problem with that is that when you just look at it as red versus blue, you get such heinous things as people doing damage control for literal pedophiles trying to like insert themselves into the whole LGBT whatever the rest of it is.
Oh
You know,
Christ, let's not
yeah,
even
you know,
go there.
but we have to very temporarily and very lightly tread in this territory because you might have heard about these people calling themselves MAPs,
Minor
minor
attracted
attracted
persons.
persons. Yeah,
Yeah, do you
they're
know
trying
what?
to
Do you know
wedge
what?
them.
I'm
Yeah,
just gonna take a very firm moral stand here. Um, I'm gonna take a very firm moral stand on this channel. If you are an adult who thinks that engaging in a romantic or sexual relationship with a child is acceptable, go get some help. And if you don't want to go get help, go kill yourself. Because children are, we have a moral obligation. Every single adult in society, we have a moral obligation to create a safe world for children to learn and grow in so that they can become well-adjusted adults. And do you know what doesn't produce well-adjusted adults? All the trauma that you want to inflict on children. Get help, fix yourself. Those are your options.
you know what? I don't know if I've ever seen you be that serious, and I'm just like, I mean, if only we were talking about something more inspiring, that would have been very inspiring and
I
not
work
just
with
really
children, Kyle.
obvious.
And even if I wasn't working with children, I still believe that we have a moral duty. Like, you know what? Do you know what you do when a kid is on a bridge and waves at you when you're in traffic? You wave back. That is a smaller version of the same principle. Children have a right to a safe environment to learn and grow in. They must have that right. If someone is a person who is going to work against them having that environment, that person has made an enemy of me.
Fair. And also, I mean, I can't believe that it's not just normal, but but still admirable. You know, it's kind of sad that it's admirable, but admirable all the same. You know. Where were we just before this though? Right, we're talking about how politics has been infused with identity, and how the very practical side of politics and philosophical side of politics, which is very inspiring, is essentially being suffocated by this applying of identity to everything, to the point where it's just red team versus blue team, and people only care about their team winning, not whether or not their team is doing the right thing. Yeah. Yeah, we got it. It's kind of funny. We finish each other's sentences a lot, and like, yeah, it's
we need to chop up the audio there for shorts so that we're both saying doing the right thing at the same time, like some sort of screwed up political harmony.
Perhaps. I mean, I do think that would be a very good short, though. You are quite right about that. So, but that being said, I guess to sort of drive this back around and back onto the rails, politics can be so much more than the media and even a lot of politicians have not only presented it to be, but have twisted it, have bastardized it into being. It can be inspiring. The idea, I know for a lot of people, the idea that government can be inspiring is just ridiculous.
If you think that government can't be inspiring, you need to watch Keating the Musical.
Yes, that too. I mean, for a second there, I thought you were going to say West Wing, but I forgot that you haven't seen West Wing. Watch West Wing. It's pretty good. And watch Keating the Musical. And also, if you don't think that it can be inspiring, then also watch fucking Hamilton. Because that is quite literally half of that show is about Hamilton in government.
Keating did it better.
Oh, I think Keating did it
first
sure.
and did it better.
True. And also Keating did it more factually. I mean, Hamilton is kind of not entirely historically accurate. I'm sorry if I just killed part of somebody's now former childhood.
Yeah, who would have thought that the founding fathers were not in fact rap battling in modern English? I personally was utterly distraught when I found out that the founding fathers were mostly white and didn't rap battle at all.
I was actually referring to how Alexander Hamilton wanted an American monarchy, but you know that's a whole different thing. Yeah, look it up. It's actually quite interesting in a way.
For the facts, as best we know them, come to the U-Talk show. For everything else, there's Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Including some of the greatest artistry that we could ever ask for. A drink to him. Some very good tea.
I could use a cuppa. I think we've basically covered the importance of being offended, and I think we've also possibly in the process offended Hamilton fans, pedophiles, and I think we've only really gone those two groups.
No, we've probably offended some more. I mean, at least the media, and also everyone who thinks politics is a battle of ideas between left and right.
Also politics is a battle of ideas between me and your mum. I want to do her slowly.
Oh God, just no. Oh God, why? Okay, with that, we're gonna end this.
Good night.
Thank you for that image. Take care, everyone.